It's Spoilerin time. This show is built on the support of Cordkillers. Support is like the beams, the girders, the infrastructure that helps us understand what's streaming and where. And then when we watch stuff, we come over here and we can just have fun and talk about it. This week, we'll be talking about Miami Vice, Season 3, Episode 16, Theresa, the movie Moonfall, available on HBO Max, and Star Trek Lower Decks, Season 3, Episode 9. I'm Tom Merritt. He's Brian Brushwood.
Yeah, dude, let's dive in.
Shall we dive in with Star Trek Lower Decks, Season 3, Episode 9? Brian, what'd you think?
So this was a case where I was a wee bit distracted by wondering how this would play for price, because it was definitely a very, very fan servicey, next generation, remember this episode setup, but also that was a weird episode, and they do kind of meta deconstruct, like, that was a weird solution, is to just, there's two planets of aliens, one needs medicine from the other, whoops, that medicine is heroin, and they're addicted to it. And so
I loved the sort of like, and then what did Picard do? So it looks like he just left.
For the context, Bryce, because I'm assuming you haven't seen it, they were wondering, like, well, we should intervene, it's the Prime Directive or whatever, and they're like, wait, I have a solution, we'll hide behind the Prime Directive and do nothing and let them get dry on their own. You guys work it out.
But so they cut off the drug supply. They just didn't do anything else to help because of the Prime Directive.
Right, correct. And I must admit, I was like super giddy. Like, oh my God, are we getting a canonical follow-up on where this went? And then I was super disappointed by the wasted potential, because the clean planet, I guess they were making a point about CrossFit people being annoyingly obsessed with health.
That was their drug. They had channeled their channeled addiction into something generally positive.
Correct, but then they also did some side-eye glances where that imply that maybe they were still addicted or there was something to hide.
I took it more as a comment on, like, we don't need your help. We went through the hard part. We might have needed your help when we had those years of chaos where everyone was killing each other in withdrawal. But now we've put our lives together, and like many recovering addicts, we found a healthier addiction to replace it. In this case, it's exercise. That just felt like some writer in the writer's room was like, oh yeah, all my buddies who've been through recovery, all they talk about is exercise and fitness. I didn't take it as more of a commentary than just like, oh yeah, that's what happens to a lot of people when they finally put their stuff back together.
Right. Well, I definitely identified, of all the characters, with the news lady, who was very disappointed that such a boring story awaited us on that planet. And then I was hoping that something interesting would happen. I did like the fact that it was definitely a hollowed out, depressed space Miami where nobody was able to sell the drugs. I didn't really get who those bad guys were or why they were there.
Oh, the Breen?
I was hoping for a story there, didn't get one.
That's a failure of a canonical Star Trek reference, because they didn't really remind you who the Breen were. They just said, well, it's the Breen. Everybody knows they're, awful.
Yeah, and not for nothing, I know a little Star Trek, and for whatever reason, either I'd forgotten about them or what. I did like the reversal of everyone assuming Mariner screwed something up and she didn't. Actually,
that was the best part of this episode for me, was like, I was like, pretty sure that she had not done her mom dirty. But I loved that they even subverted my own expectations, where I thought it would be everybody else who said all the bad stuff, but then they showed Mariner like being nice and praising, and even if that is somewhat out of character for Mariner, and also like, I'm going to talk to him anyway. It was a cool surprise.
The best part of the whole thing to me were the tropes from reality television that they did, the freeze frame, the push in, the going to reverse color and all that stuff. That part made me quite happy. But outside of that, this episode was generally a miss for me.
Wow.
It was fun. It's certainly not high on my list, but I passed the time well. Bryce, what about you?
I thought it was better than the last two. I'll just start with that. But it's interesting that you started this conversation, Brian, about talking about Star Trek canon, because I had no questions about that. At no point was I confused about what is going on or the stories that were happening
interesting.
here.
Yeah, okay. That's good feedback.
Which was nice. I was like, oh yeah, okay, cool. We're seeing like some depth to the concept here, right? Second contact. We're setting up a new paradigm for more procedural adventures. And I was okay with the two planets thing being a little watery, it was a lot of context clues. Whether I knew what it was from, I guess didn't change how I felt about it. And I guess they tricked me with the Mariner stuff in that it seemed so obvious. It seems so obvious that was the story that they were doing. That like and everyone blindly, except for the other lower deckers, blindly shunning her,
including her girlfriend, who ditches her.
And when her girlfriend did that, it made me think, oh, this has to be like a mind alien or something. And nope. Just everybody believes gossip.
I don't know. That girl was bad for Mariner anyway. Like made her like stun all of her friends and stuff.
I was
like,
gonna say, did you see her friends? Her friends are not that great either.
Yeah.
But otherwise, I like the reporter stuff. I thought the tension of like we've got to make the ship look good was fantastic. I liked seeing all of the little cutaway interviews that were all of the damning interviews instead of Mariner's. That was great. And I'm glad to see a new side of Mariner. I mean, I think this is a pretty big event. I would like to think we can't just completely. How do you rewind this? Do you rewind this?
That's what's fun about it, right? Is like how we all know Mariner will end up back with her lower decks crew at some point, but it does seem to be impossible. Her mom has now burned a bridge. Mariner has left the Federation. She's probably committing crimes with her new archaeological pal. And I am here for some Mariner archaeological crime spree adventures. I'm kind of excited for that prospect.
I mean, they could go a pretty long way. Do we know how many more episodes are in this season?
Just one more.
Oh, doggone it, of course.
That's right.
Mm-hmm. I would have signed up for like most of this season being this.
And now, I mean,
this would have been better at the end of the finale and leave me wondering like, oh, what's going to happen next season, right?
Are you a sadist?
Or early in a season.
You wanted that?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Because then you get 5 episodes of Mariner doing crazy things and the Cerritos having to enforce rules and the lower decks people put like, oh, but we don't want to do it against our friend, but she did leave us. And now it feels like either that's where we're going to end after one more episode of chasing her and not resolve it till next year, or more likely they're probably going to resolve it next episode.
How long was Boimler out in season 2? 2 or 3 episodes?
Yeah,
maybe 2 episodes.
Something like that. Yeah.
So
they got to at least give us that, right?
Yeah. Because
fingers
over
crossed.
The break, over the season break,
they're gonna have. You know what it's gonna be? They're gonna save the day. They're gonna save the Federation. They're gonna give her a new shirt, and they're gonna say, "Here's your shirt back."
No, but first along the way, okay, she's gonna be out doing crazy space crimes. She's gonna think she sees Boimler, but it's gonna be Boimler's
clone Boimler.
Yep.
And then she like attacks the clone Boimler because she's like, "Hey, you didn't support me," and then she actually takes down the evil. Yeah.
What if Rutherford's other personality asserts itself and he joins them?
Oh, the 3 of them actually being legitimate space pirates.
Yeah.
Like actually out there doing bad.
And then Tendi and OG Boimler are put in the position of having to fight them and find them. And
well, you remember a few episodes ago, Tendi wants to be a captain.
Oh, and Tendi is a pirate.
Significant advancement. I know it was part of the story that the drone ship was more interesting than the Cerritos, the Texas class ship. But also, like, if there's one thing that's going to bring the upper decks and the lower decks together, it's going to be hatred of the Texas class starship. That's got to be what the last episode's about.
Yeah, automation.
Tendi, oh my God, Tendi wants to be a captain,
and there are no more captains.
And she's got.
I got to go on my own. Let's go steal some vases.
And
they are.
And she's got pirate. Like,
she's got pirate blood.
She's got pirate blood.
Oh, dang it!
Could we get an entire season of pirate lower decks?
I mean, I'd pay for a pay-per-view movie of it.
This episode's not so bad now, is it?
I mean, you know
Well,
what?
yeah.
If it pays off, yeah.
Yeah.
That would be.
I know it's a
very
robot
good.
ship, but could you commandeer it?
We're about to find out. Free to beam across.
What was that little robot from a few other days ago? Fart Nugget or whatever.
Oh my gosh, Peanut Hamper.
Peanut Hamper. The Fart Nugget could take over the ship. It's all coming together.
So it becomes all automated, and then now.
But it's her automation.
It's her and the other. So her and the other robot escape, and there's no way they could do all that in just one more episode.
No.
But it would be a good concept for a season.
It really would.
But one more episode could set up all the rest of the folks to go in that direction.
And imply everything. So we end the season with Mariner still off the ship, with the Texas class taking over everything, with Fart Nugget escaping, with the other robot, with, oh man.
Yeah.
That would be great.
Hire me, Paramount. Let us write this. Let us write this.
Either hire him or sue him for infringement.
Sue
right?
me. Come sue. No.
Do one of them. Because this
You
has to
violated
happen.
a P&A, a psychic
A P&L.
non-disclosure agreement.
Okay.
Yeah, psychic, a PDA.
It makes sense in Klingon. In
violated
Klingon,
a
the
PDF.
abbreviation works.
Yeah. All right. That is Star Trek Lower Decks Season 3, Episode 9. I'm now way more excited to watch next week's Star Trek Lower Decks than I already was. Let's talk about Moonfall, the movie from master director of disaster movies, Roland Emmerich. Was released in theaters, stars Halle Berry, is on HBO Max, also has Sam from Game of Thrones, and is nonstop action.
Boy,
to the point
nonstop is right.
Look, you don't need to have. Look, if your dialogue isn't great, if your character development is shallow, if your plot doesn't make sense, just keep moving. Just keep moving. That's what I learned from Moonfall.
Yeah, don't worry if the script has just who needs a second draft? We don't have time for a second draft.
No. Yeah.
Also, shouts out to the
The
cameo
moon
from
is
that.
rising. Oh,
Shouts out to the one vampire from What We Do in the Shadows, who we spend seeing at NASA, and then he just dies in a wave. No. He was one of the mosquitoes, and then.
right. Yeah. No, he's one of the scientists who helps out. You're right.
And then just dies unceremoniously at the end.
Listen.
Okay, we're just going to assume everybody's seen
this
it.
genre of movie. I am a huge fan of Roland Emmerich. I am the guy who made us go see 2012 on opening day. I love this, and I loved every second of it. I will not defend any criticism. Go ahead and take your shots. It doesn't matter. I had a great time watching this. It's exactly what I want from a Roland Emmerich movie. Which is, don't make any sense, do things that make me laugh, and yet crush everything. That's all I want.
This movie is meant to be enjoyed with a friend. And it's actually a very fine basic tutorial of how to write a movie. Like, if you've never recognized tropes before, having them all highlighted and spelled out for you, brilliant. Also, very cheap production. That moment where Brian races off into his motorcycle, in definitely a soundstage with a matte painting behind it, is amazing. Those the brilliance of naming your son, I don't know, Sonny. And how are we going to show this 5-star general has a heart and cares about his kid and is sensitive about being a divorced dad? I know, the moment he gets his kid on the line, he'll say, "Tell me you miss me, son." Literally. I know. How do we make people seem approachable? Like, let's make a big scene of fighting two of these oxygen tanks and then have an extra line of dialogue where the son says, "We should make 2 trips." And then just don't show that and don't have that mean anything or go anywhere. Here's another good one. Since the movie's being paid for by the Chinese government and Lexus, first of all, make sure to staple an au pair that says, that just out of nowhere says, "I'm so thankful to be a foreign exchange student from China."
I know I haven't explained what my relationship is to you or why you care about me, but you haven't explained that for anyone else in the movie either. So I think it's okay.
It's great that they bring that character in and don't introduce her, but it's very clear that she's just there to take care of the child. She's the only reason.
At the very beginning, I'm like, oh, so she's got a love interest now that she's solo. And then I remembered I was watching a Roland Emmerich movie, and that's already way too much character development for any single character.
Here's another good idea, is have everything be as surprising as the moon falling into the planet. For example, be in a court of law and say, you are 18 years old now, which means you'll be tried as an adult. What?
I'm going to get unreasonably bad about this.
The bad news is you've had a birthday. I did?
What?
And also have your main hero walk up to the judge afterwards and say, listen, I have a motorcycle and a vintage Mustang. I'm willing to do anything to get my son out of jail.
The thing you have to understand about these kinds of movies is the rule in this kind of movie is tell, don't show, because we have so many other things to show. We can't spend time showing you character development. We have to crash the moon into the planet Earth.
Can we please talk about the fact that the entire plot of this movie hinges on an Amazon Alexa going wild a billion years ago?
Like literally next to the bed of a little girl or whatever, like, I've had enough.
No! What? All wars have been eliminated except for like the Amazons. Sorry.
That 30 seconds. And I think what makes this such a delight is the uncanny valley of genuine people spent years working on these effects so that you could tell in 45 seconds, you could tell the entire Commonwealth saga by Peter F. Hamilton. Like, you could just say, anyway, humans existed, but then their Alexas got mad, became nanorobots that only hate organic objects surrounded by electronics. So we built a bunch of moons, Dyson spheres, we sent them out, but they all got blown up except for one, and it had to find the right place.
Yeah.
This movie's amazing.
And also, they, correct me if I'm wrong, but they don't even really explain why the AI are upset.
No, they don't.
Do they, Tom?
No, they did. They said the AI wanted freedom. I can't remember the exact.
Actually, they said the AI, the artificial intelligence, had suddenly become conscious. I'm like, isn't that what AI means?
The
then it's not A anymore. It's just I.
And realized they were being exploited. There was like two, 3 words tops to say the AI was mad because they were being taken advantage of. And so, of course, they built nanobots because AI and nanobots are 2 tech words. So that's why they're a swarm of things. What I also loved is that when the nanobots are inside the superstructure, they somehow don't cause it to crash into the Earth until later, and every time they leave, the moon can start to correct itself. Why? I don't know.
Oh, they do explain that. They do explain
the nanobots aren't there.
Yeah, because the nanobots mess with the systems and they're draining energy from the captured star.
Sure. Yeah.
That
makes sense.
Yeah.
Some of the lines of dialogue just like
another one. Oh, hold on. Another one is, well, why didn't the nanobots just attack Earth? And they're like, they wanted to take care of the super. They explained it. They wanted to take care of the superstructure first.
Two birds with one stone, of course.
Yeah, 2, because then if they can get in here, then they can crash, and then it's more efficient somehow. Yeah, 2 birds with 1 stone.
Those lines like, we're going to get up to space, and if we're lucky, we'll hit the moon's orbit. Like, you just guessing up there.
I need you to type on that calculator really quickly. What are you going to do on the calculator?
We must get away from the moon while it's over us because it will get rid of all the air, except when I need the moon to lift this rock off of you. Then there will be plenty of air.
No, it was a log.
I think Josie was offended that the guy from Ant-Man was in this movie. She was like, "What is he doing in this movie?"
Innocence. It's hard to see it disappear.
Oh, here, go back a couple pictures there. Here, take a look at those boxes there.
Kids
books, photo albums.
Well, he was the thing that happens a lot where we disgrace all of our astronauts. That just happens all the time. This movie stinks.
It's great. It's great and awful.
You're part of the moon now.
Oh my God.
Yes, he can't die. He's been scanned.
Well, he did
because this is a good AI. Also, by the way, at the last moment, we realized that the horrible previous civilization did have some good AIs. They weren't all bad. Not all. Hashtag not all AI.
Man, how about that move of them driving around in crazy Lexuses until like 80% in, and then they say, let's kick it into overdrive, go from eco mode to sport in the Lexus.
He's like turbo boost or something. Warp speed. He says warp speed.
Warp speed.
I had the exact same thought. Oh, so he took it out of eco mode.
He also messed up. He made a reference to I think it was a Spaceballs reference, and then he messed it up.
Ludicrous speed.
He does it. It's called ludicrous speed.
Oh, but ludicrous mode is a function in Tesla cars. It's like a viral thing. It's the one that goes like 0 to 200 like right away.
Why did you say that with the Lexus branded product though?
Because this is a bad movie.
That's a good point.
Because the Lexus
thinking that this is a good movie.
All right, now listen, we're going to go to space.
Past the Lexus brand,
and then thanks to our friends at SpaceX, we'll refuel, and then we're going to borrow an experimental spacecraft. Thanks to our friends at the Chinese government.
Everyone's friends. That's the nice part.
And the Russians, too. We got Kaspersky's. Kaspersky Labs on there, too.
That was an interesting part of this. This was a little bit of a time capsule of pre-pandemic movie making, right?
Oh, yeah.
Because there are so many things like Tencent co-producing a movie, and Tencent being a Chinese company, Tencent co-producing a movie and then having a Chinese character in it so that it can help Tencent sell it in its domestic market doesn't feel like a thing that's going to happen anymore. This was back when Tencent was going to IPO on the New York Stock Exchange. Not Tencent has been cracked down on by Xi Jinping and is as for having too much power and might not even list on the Hong Kong Stock Exchange anymore. Like there's so many parts of this movie, including the Kaspersky thing, where I'm like, oh yeah, so many of these relationships have changed since this movie was first put together as a deal. It's amazing.
One thing I unironically loved, again, great writing. The BBC, the Chiron says it as the BBC announcer says, looting has become a national pastime in England.
Well, it was better than white ISIS in America. Anybody knows we had white ISIS?
No, wait, what?
That's the cult at the beginning of that scene.
Oh my God.
Oh yeah, with the beard.
The bearded guys,
the wave.
There's a town in England called Luton.
Maybe that's what it was.
They should have just gone with looting has become a national pastime in Luton.
The tsunami is past the city. Somebody pulls out a radio, pulls up the antenna. Is it this just in? The governor is evacuating all of the West Coast, or recommends that you evacuate the West Coast.
The governor of the West Coast has spoken.
Now, unironically, I absolutely adore the fact that in their rage and anger, everybody graffitied the museum and wrote F the moon on the side of the Space Shuttle Endeavour, and that they just fly up with that on it. That was legitimately great.
because that's their message to the moon.
I know. Right? No, I love it. It's like of all the things that I thought I didn't see that coming. There's so much of this movie. It's definitely full of surprises. Like the moon scraping. God, that scene. I never got tired of, look. And then the moon like a creeper coming over the horizon.
I'm the moon.
I like that about halfway through the movie, they just decide, oh no, the moon is like 8 times heavier than it's supposed to be. And they just assume that's just new facts. Like, hey, all of the other stuff that would mess with, like, the moon's really heavy.
Oh, here's another good idea. Have 3 astronauts kill one and never give that one's name, never refer to him by name. Just say, I lost my friend up there. Or it's like, hey man, just ever since that astronaut died up there.
Yeah. And these kind of movies, they will tell you whether you should care about a character by literally telling you should care about a character. This is, again, we have to spend a lot of time crashing the moon into the earth. Okay. We don't have time to waste on some kind of like, I've invested in. They're like, no, we'll tell you this person you should care about. And also we're about to kill them.
Oh, so good. I really enjoy. The only part that I didn't enjoy were the boring relationship parts with the au pair and the son.
Yeah. Even when they had a little bit of character, you didn't want that. You wanted more moon crashing.
Yeah. Always. I like at the very end when they do their big Mario jump across the broken bridge.
That's a classic Emmerich move. You always have to have a broken bridge that you can't possibly go across, and then you go across. It's amazing.
What I love is the bridge gets broken only by the world's smallest train. The world's littlest train breaks this bridge, and you just see it go. That's
also, you at some point have to have nature chase your vehicle, and Sonny got that as well, where he was running away from the
giant tidal wave. He first of all goes to a scenic mountain view to watch it, and then realizes that he shouldn't be there.
I should really be driving away from this. Yeah.
Oh, man, how about that part where they compare Chinese character tattoos?
Oh yeah,
that means. What was the band she said? It means Jonas Brothers.
Oh yeah,
I'm just messing with you.
Okay, all right.
I've got the internet, lady. I can look up a Chinese character now. This isn't the 90s.
The guy, the main character, Brian, comes out, gets in. He's like, guys, we've been in an intergalactic war for 12 billion years. We have to go and do this. Okay.
All right.
Sounds good to me. Yeah.
I like that. The guy who sacrifices himself at the end, Casey, he only does that because Brian is you're the key to the future. Like, okay, you think anyone's gonna believe him again at all? Like, yeah, the moon fell, but that doesn't mean alien humans billions of years ago existed, you lunatic. You lunar tick. And that's what they're going to put in the stuff.
It does mean that alien humans existed millions of years ago, as we saw inside the moon, Brian.
Hey, we just had our big military meeting about the moon. Don't you do it. Do what? I didn't say, don't you do it. What do you mean? Don't you nuke that moon.
We're not going to nuke the moon. Oh, my gosh. And then, of course, the two keys moment. Turn your keys, like everything.
No.
Everything. And then they all just die. And then they all just die unceremoniously.
Well, yeah, because they were bad. They were going to nuke the moon.
They were in an underground.
They deserved to die. I know that they were opening up a top secret military installation for pretty much anyone who would show up to come in.
Yeah.
But
Also,
everyone knows just to go to Colorado.
The dad says to his son, like, okay, you're coming? All right, well, call me when you're close. I'll try to get you in.
I need you to call ahead. I got to get around the bouncer. We got a velvet rope crew.
It's a Pentagon thing, you know.
The ratio's really screwed up in here, but I can put a good word in for you.
I mean, you got to understand, it's like you got to wait for the right moment. I didn't want to freak everyone out. I don't want to be grabby.
I can't just put you on an authorization list with credentials.
How did they get Halle Berry for this movie?
How did they get anybody?
Poor Halle Berry. I feel like, I don't know. Is Halle Berry better than this movie?
You know what? She's so good that she fit right in. I think she knew exactly what she was up to, and she exactly matched the energy. I thought it was great. All of it.
Yeah.
I mean, it's. I think that the magic of this movie is the uncanny valley between the level of production and my broken brain trying to process the logic of, or the script, or of the bad acting, or anything. It's amazing.
This movie is incredible in 1981. it's like a super blockbuster in 1981. In the 90s, this movie would have had a scientifically accurate version called Orbital Impact or something, starring Pierce Brosnan, and you would have compared them side by side. Sadly, we live in the modern age where you watch it on HBO Max.
We should make 2 trips. What a moment to just inject a bit of Who's that?
Tell me you didn't rob them. No, they robbed us, and then we robbed them back.
And also, like, oxygen is what scavengers are looking for.
Well, yeah, because of the moon sucking up the oxygen, Bryce.
Okay, but that's a very fast changing circumstance. I
Yeah,
don't know that
exactly.
even know
Keep
that?
up.
I also feel like Tom didn't, the character Tom, didn't need to die because he asphyxiated, and then no one else asphyxiated.
Yeah. Also, it's fairly natural when you're not getting oxygen to do buddy breathing. It's very easy to take a breath and then like somebody else take a breath.
Can't you share?
Tom, you brilliant idiot! You don't know about buddy breathing. Oh well, you were too beautiful to live.
Oh, so good.
Yeah, I had a blast.
Oh my god, so good.
Honestly, it was it made my
5
weekend.
stars
5 bags of popcorn.
out of 10.
5 moons
is what it got on IMDb.
That one's true. Folks.
That is Moonfall, available on HBO Max. It's a movie. Go watch it. Let's talk about Miami Vice season 3, episode 16. Theresa, or as Edward James almost says at one point in the show, Theresa, who is Helena Bonham-Carter in her English accent, answering your question.
Yeah. Also, man, almost didn't recognize her because she's cultivated as a full grown up, such a stark, awesome look about her, and instead she's this soft young thing with
she almost reminded me of Emilia Clarke.
Yeah, I could see that.
In like Planet of the Apes era Emilia Clarke, right?
Which made it really creepy that a 40-year-old man was going to marry her.
The Miami Vice wiki notes. It's the top note on this. Helena Bonham-Carter was only 20 years old when they filmed this. Way too young to be a doctor. Next sentence, same bullet point. Don Johnson was 37 years old when they filmed this.
It's not an autumn spring. It's more of the late summer, late spring relationship.
It's either that or
autumn.
he could be her dad.
Technically, he could. Fine. Yeah.
What do you guys think about the story in this one? It really starts with the emotions.
Surprisingly modern with the mention of fentanyl. That really stuck out to me. I was like, first of all, I was like, oh, this is a pretty sophisticated story, which we're not unfamiliar with Miami Vice, and I thought it had some nice complex themes. But when she mentioned fentanyl, it really popped. I was like, oh wow, you could rewrite this for now.
I liked it. Okay.
Yeah, solid.
I wish
there's a little bit of Moonfall in it. I'm
trying to be yes. This is me trying to be good and generally appreciative of everything that Miami Vice was trying to do at the time.
I think the story is complex about a doctor who's addicted, especially at that time. That story hadn't been told a lot,
and with the classic
I think
tale,
it still feels complex now, and somebody who's willing to confront her addiction and admit it and try to get help, but not want help for the right. Like that part's really good. On the other hand, we're just supposed to accept that Don Johnson loves her because we see that in the first scene.
They certainly do announce it. Also, this show is more obsessed with astrological signs than I think the mid '80s was. Like,
it's hard to say. They're pretty obsessed back then.
I mean,
Tubbs is like, oh, I'm just a sad little Gemini.
That's right.
which brought me into the story because I'm also a sad little Gemini.
Oh no.
What did you guys?
Why was Tubbs like? He's like, Crockett was like, I'm gonna ask her to marry me. I'm gonna give her the ring, and he's just like, hey man, are you nervous? What? You have to have done this before. I'm like, who gets married like multiple times?
That's established lore that that Crockett is divorced.
Oh, that's right. And actually, he does. He tells the story immediately about how broke he was the first time. Oh, that's right. Okay.
Yeah. What did you guys think about the explosion at the cheap building factory? I love that. It was a shame that those stucco walls fell down.
That's not a silo. That's a silo.
There's a lot of paper evidence.
I like that in the shot, and we've got it on the screenshot here, you can clearly see a huge sign that says, "Stop, fire zone," as they shot it at an explosives range.
That is a very tiny skyscraper.
It would make sense for the police to have their fire range next to the evidence building. That's, they're
next to a residential building.
Next to their secret evidence. What secret evidence warehouse?
Oh, okay. That part I wasn't buying. Like, I just need you to give me an address that's on every single police filing. That seems like a pretty easy address to get somehow. Like,
not only that, but she was just supposed to give him the address. Why
she took a photostatic
why
copy.
Why did she get a photostatic copy of it?
Because she's a doctor.
She's a doctor.
She does things, but she does them well.
Okay. Like, it's hard to peek at an address, but it's easy to swipe. All right.
You just got to look over his shoulder, man.
Or just follow Crockett next time he has to log evidence. Also a thing you could do.
I like the opening to this, kind of, where Crockett is on the phone with Theresa, and then they go into this steakhouse, the stakeout, because of the security popping up. I thought that was a little too comical of just like the security guards coming in. Turn the lights off. Turn the lights off.
Well, and just before that, there was a hot second that I thought, oh my God, are they going to show him actually inhaling cocaine? You cut away. They're masters of the almost,
And the sound effect almost sounds like he's doing it.
Yeah.
For sure. I also
standards and practices told them exactly where the line was, and they went right up to it. Yeah.
In the house scene right after this, 3 cops break through 3 different doors. Tubbs smashes through the glass panel, and then another one, and then on the other side of the room, Crockett comes in through like a wooden door. He splits a wooden door like down the middle.
Yeah.
Like, that's awesome. It was stupid, but it was really awesome.
That gunfight, it also really stuck out of my mind that I guess there was in the 80s a school of marksmanship that said, don't aim first. Just kind of hold the gun down and then just peekaboo, pop it up and then shoot and then lower your weapon again.
Yep. That's a tradition that dates back to the cowboy times of the 1950s.
Yeah.
Shooting from the hip.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
I also love that the Internal Investigations Bureau tells Crockett, like, if you even breathe around a case, we'll be on you. And he actually follows a guy and gets him hit by a car with no repercussions.
It also offers him amnesty in the middle of a shootout.
Yeah.
We could get a deal.
Come on.
Well, I don't know why they tried to milk that moment so hard. We saw the guy get run over by a random car. Like, no one's going to think Crockett did it. He's got tire marks on him.
Investigation. He shouldn't have even been there with his gun drawn, shooting publicly in front of everyone.
Oh my gosh.
Also, when you mentioned the stakeout thing, it was nicely reflected at the end when he makes the call and hangs up, and he's actually on a stakeout. Yeah. He's actually working, pretending that he's not working.
You got anything, Crockett? No, I don't got anything.
I'm just a sad old Leo.
That was the end of the. That was like the last.
I'm just a sad old Cancer or Sagittarius or Leo. Which one am I?
Which one?
Still
Miami
great.
Vice. Yeah. That is Miami Vice. So next week, I'm sorry, I should say that's Miami Vice Season 3, Episode 16, Theresa. Next week, we have Lower Decks, the finale, Season 3, Episode 10. We also have Miami Vice 317. So this is the next episode in order, starring John Leguizamo. The Afternoon Plane, starring John Leguizamo, and the beginning of The White Lotus on HBO Max, Season 2, Episode 1. You can hear all of our conversations a little early if you go to patreon.com/Cordkillers. Yeah, Brian?
Oh, I was, you know what? I'll save it for After Talk. That's for bosses only.
All right. So also, if you are a patron, you get the After Talk, where we talk about things that Brian teases that he's going to bring up on Spoilerin time and then saves for After Talk. So once again, patreon.com/Cordkillers. We'll spoil you next time.
Diamond Club hopes you have enjoyed this program.